You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Phil Zepeda here with my colleague, Katie Bredemann. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Phil.
And we hope your Tuesday is off to a great start. We are here on Tuesday mornings on WNDZ 750 AM in Chicago with a simultaneous live stream on YouTube and Facebook at Catholic Chicago. And we're always here talking about the many ways that the mission of Catholic Charities is being fulfilled across Cook and Lake counties each day, each week, each month, and each year. So as school-aged children around the nation prepared in recent weeks to go back to school, in my household as well, Catholic Charities staff members have been busy, too, responding to the needs of clients in our regional offices and coordinating community events that help remind residents of the programs and services that Catholic Charities offers in their own neighborhoods, right in their own communities. And our dedicated colleagues also have been helping these families we serve prepare for the school year. What's ahead?
It's such an exhilarating time of year, isn't it, Phil?
It truly is.
And in this back-to-school season, wonderful stories have been emerging about incredible generosity and teamwork in support of economically vulnerable families in Cook and Lake counties. And here to share some of those stories are Christopher Torres, Catholic Charities Regional Director for our South and Southwest Suburban Cook County region, Peggy Johnson, a Director in our Mission Engagement Service area, and Julia Burkhardt, a Director of Program Operations for the North and Northwest Suburban Cook Regional Office. Welcome, Chris, Peggy, and Julia.
Welcome, folks.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Chris, number one with a star. We're going to start with you. So we know that late summer is always a very busy time for you, not only in everything that we're doing, and this year is no exception for families around Cook and Lake counties. What have been some of the most common requests in your South and Southwest Suburban Cook region in recent weeks, and how have you and your team been able to respond?
You know, it's back to school. I thought you were too young to have children there, Phil.
Oh, you're so kind.
At any rate, it's a lot of back-to-school supplies they've been asking for. They've been asking for toiletries, of course, socks, underwear, winter supplies, coats, those kind of things.
So the normal things. Has anything surprised you this year that we necessarily haven't seen in the past?
You know, there's been two things. One has been uniforms, because I know a lot of schools are requiring uniforms, and I know they can be pricey. And the second thing is backpacks have changed in some of the districts. Many of them are requiring clear backpacks versus the regular mesh backpacks, and that can be a challenge because they are a little bit more pricey than the standard backpacks. So we had to adjust accordingly to our event in Calumet City a couple weeks ago.
Got it.
Everything's just more expensive these days, isn't it, Chris? You know, in terms of, like you said, the uniforms, the kids have to have them. They've got to have them day one.
Yeah, they're really expensive. I have two at home. One's off to college and one's in high school. And you'd be really surprised how quickly prices go up just for the basic stuff. And yeah, they're pretty expensive.
And Peggy, I know you've been instrumental in helping to coordinate a number of community events for Catholic Charities, and some are back to school related and some are not. Can you share with us some about those recent community gatherings?
Sure. So, piggybacking off what Chris was saying, right? A lot of it was focused about the back to school, but then we had the end of summer festivals, the end of summer picnics that took place all around. And my region that I focus on is the south side of Chicago, an area that has needed a lot of nurturing and relationships. And so by doing so, I've been attending these events just to get to know the communities, to understand their partners, to see who their partners are, specifically as it pertains to the parishes. And so by nurturing these relationships, we're able to identify like partnerships and future partnerships with some of these parishes as well as their partners. So maybe three to highlight, right? Were for example, Saint Sabina, where my colleague, who is director of operations in that Saint Sabina campus, hosted an event called the WGCI Peace in the Streets event, and because the area where it's vulnerable to some of the trauma that can come into a community,
Right.
they host this event where they raise up peace, right? And it means bringing the community together, building that sense of rapport and that trust within the community. And there, because WGCI is a major radio station, they were able to partner with Saint Sabina. So Father Flagler obviously has done a great job with hosting that event and yearly. And so just getting to know the community, even down to the officers, the community police officers that work in the area, because, again, it's about identifying those partnerships. Another event that, and that's in the Auburn Gresham community on the south side. Another event that I went to was the Back to School Street and Health Fair at the St. Josephine Bakhita Parish. That's in the South Shore community. And what they did was host a health fair where they had Walgreens was there partnering because there's a senior living services across the street from the parish. So there was a lot of old school line dancing, old school music, loving it. And
Sounds
so
fun.
they were doing, blood pressure checks. American Airlines was there as another partner to the Bakhita Health Fair. And shout out to Father Thomas Belanger, who I had a chance to get to really know the whole history of the community of St. Josephine Bakhita, and looking forward to working and doing partnership initiatives with them. And last but not least was Our Lady of Africa area that serves the Grand Boulevard area on the south side of Chicago. And Father Carl Gales, who is a superstar in that area, has just been having one event right after another. And he was one of the recipients, actually, of many of our backpacks that we were able to, provide for him and his community. And so at that event, they had their parish picnic where they got to distribute those backpacks to the kids in the community, which was really just fun to see. And watching Father Carl get dunked by the water, dunking, whatever that dunking contraption is. Because it was a hot day that day. Good music, good fun. So again, it's just really about nurturing, building those relationships, getting to know the community, getting to know the pastors that serve in these communities, that are leaders in these communities, and identifying those partnerships and these initiatives. It's been a great summer with that. I'm so looking forward to partaking in more next summer.
So that's beautiful, and Peggy, thank you for sharing that. Julia, the North and Northwest suburban offices, it's no exception, right? You're seeing the same type of interaction and community engagements. What are the most common concerns of residents that you're seeing within your jurisdiction? And talk to us about those, as well as work within the food pantry and other work that's happening there.
Yeah, I think the most common concerns are basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. Our food pantry, every week, we have around 200 households, equivalent to about 650 individuals that come through needing that service. And how those numbers kind of compare to recent summers, I think it continues to grow. It's difficult to really determine that because of COVID, and the demand for basic needs was much higher during past summers. We had different policies in place, but the food pantry continues to distribute healthy food to our neighbors facing hunger.
So Go ahead.
You're
Go ahead.
so instrumental, Julia, in handling these back-to-school events, but also just day-to-day operations. I know you have a very, very busy food pantry, so thank you for all you do, and thanks for sharing that update. Let's talk a little bit more about that backpack project, because all three of you, I know, were involved in different ways. It's really a fantastic story that came together as partners in Cook and Lake counties donated nearly 1,800 backpacks, plus essential backpack supplies that were then handed out to children in economically vulnerable families in a series of events. Chris, can you start us out? Who were some of the partners who donated the backpacks and the supplies?
So we're always grateful for St. Francis of Assisi in Orland Park. They have a Catholic Charities ministry, and they've been doing ministry partnerships with us for the last 15 to 20 years. It's even before my time when I came on to the agency. They do an annual backpack package of 500 backpacks to different programs within our programming based on need. And then this year they also did a toiletry drive for us because we were going to be out in Calumet City at Lincoln Elementary. We also had two board members, one from the west suburban region and southwest, and one from the south, who purchased backpacks, clear backpacks, and also for other toiletries. So it's always a partnership. We work very closely together. I know me, Peggy, and Julia are always contacting each other and trying to connect resources in alignment with what the need is. And it really starts out really what a need is. What is the need? And I'm always grateful for St. Francis. They do an incredible job. And our board members, they support us day in and day out. Whenever we ask for something, they always deliver.
It's a great reminder that, threaded throughout the show, that those parish and school partnerships are vital to making this work happen day in and day out. Peggy, you have an example about the gracious work in partnership with Leo Catholic High School. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. They've been kind of our star backpack provider in our community. And that came about through a meeting that we had with Principal Shaka Rawls. And every year they aggregate backpacks from all over, and they had thousands of backpacks. And they, leverage their students to volunteer as part of their service, right? Their service hours. And so just being able to have that partnership where we were invited to come partake in this initiative with them, and identified that we could use some backpacks. And since he offered, we took it. We totally said yes. So we were able to get 1,000 backpacks from Leo High School. The chart pulled up, and all the students that were there. And this is an all boys school, so they were all males coming out with bags of backpacks onto the truck. And then we bring them to our storage area, which is Chris's area at St. Isidore at his office. He housed them for us. And that was where we had our distribution center happen from that section. So it was that coordinating with Chris on how we can, leverage all around the 3 different communities that touch us, right? And so with Chris and myself and others, we were able to just join together and facilitate and getting these backpacks distributed. And I know in my area, it was Our Lady of Africa that I had mentioned, and it was St. Thomas, the Apostle in Hyde Park area that was able to benefit from this initiative.
Excellent. And Peggy, thanks for that. We're going to take a break. Julia, we're going to come back and talk to you. It's important, though, before we go to this break, to note that there's a lot of things happening in Lake County as well, too, right, Katie? There's back-to-school opportunities, volunteer opportunities for students that involve our community dinners, packing backpacks and everything. So great programming that's happening across the Catholic Charities work in Cook and Lake County. So it's worth knowing, including the ideas and the programs that are being brought to our guests today. But as I mentioned, we're going to take a break right now. We ask you all to stick around, including our guests, for more of the Voice of Charity. We will be right back after these messages. Catholic Charities After Supper Visions program offers guests of our Tuesday night supper the opportunity to learn the art of photography. These talented guests, who are often experiencing homelessness, are offered disposable cameras, and they work with volunteer professional photographers to learn the basics of taking photos. Then, the artists go out and capture images on film of anything they find to be beautiful or interesting in the world. Meet the artists and see their extraordinary photos at this year's After Supper Visions photo exhibition on Friday, September 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. in Vincent Hall at 721 North LaSalle Street. That's Friday, September 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. Visit After Supper Visions for more information. At After Supper Visions, we are developing film, talent, and hope.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
Our school communities provide students with academic excellence and character education in a supportive and stable learning environment. Come see for yourself. Visit artchicago.org/findaschool.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship programs provide a free opportunity for young adults to spend time with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youth aged 9 through 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports every relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that can help young adults build confidence and enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. To learn more, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7970 in Cook County and 847-782-4224 in Lake County. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today.
Welcome back to The Voice of Charity. I'm Phil Zepeda here with the fabulous Katie Bredemann and our great guests. We have three people joining us this morning. Chris Torres, who's the Catholic Charities Regional Director for our South and Southwest Suburban Cook County region. That's a mouthful. Peggy Johnson, who's the Director in our Mission Engagement Service area, and Julia Burkhardt, who is the Director of Program Operations for the North and Northwest Suburban Cook Regional Office, also a mouthful. Let's throw it back to Julia again. Julia, there's been some school supply donations that have been brought to your offices as well. This year, parishes and individuals have been more generous than usual, and it may operate a little bit differently in your region. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think a perfect example was at the beginning of August when we had a private donor sponsor our backpack and school supply giveaway. With the funds donated, we were able to distribute 100 backpacks filled with school supplies. We gave out the backpacks to guests using our food pantry, our clothing room, our supper program, and then clients in our North and Northwest region, New Hope Apartments program. This is just one instance of how we're able to apply the charitable donations from the parishes and individuals in our region. And Phil, you are 100% right when you say the generosity in the community has increased. So I would like to take this time to thank everyone for all that they do to help us here at Catholic Charities.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and we're sharing some of the pictures from all around our region of the backpacks. And you think about, I think about my household alone. The backpack makes the difference in starting the school year. So kudos to all of you. Let's take a step back and look at this in its totality. Once Catholic Charities realized that we had collected around 1,800 backpacks filled with great supplies for this year. You've all given us some of the examples, but we'd love to hear a little bit more about the parish engagement. Our mission engagement director, Brittany McGee, along with you and other colleagues, went to work coordinating all of this distribution, right? And the distribution events where the backpacks could be given to very appreciative students. We want to hear from each of you. Where have those held, and where were those held? And let's give some shout outs to some of those parishes. So Peggy, let's start with you. Who would you like to acknowledge?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our Lady of Africa. Again, they were like one of the biggest recipients of our backpacks, and there's that intersection of Father Carl, who actually does mass for Leo High School. So again, identifying where those intersections are and partnering with that. And then St. Thomas the Apostle, another one in my area, was another recipient in a partnership that we did with them in providing backpacks for them. And then, it wasn't just school supplies that were in these bags, right? It was also essentials like toothpaste and shampoo and soap and those essentials that students would need to their school year as well. So it was a mix of backpack and dignity bags, right? All in one.
Absolutely.
So those were
Beautiful. And Chris, it's your Oscar shout out. Who would you like to thank for helping us do this amazing work?
I would say again, St. Francis of Assisi, and my kudos to Peggy Johnson, because she did the connection with Leo High School, because we needed clear backpacks from one area, and they had a ton of school supplies, so she helped share what Leo High School put together, and then we supplemented with toiletries and everything else. So it's always incredible how we all work together.
Yeah. That is tremendous. And our wrap up, our wrap up hitter, Julia, who would you like to give a shout out to in these important partnerships?
Yeah, so this year we had a private donor sponsor the backpack giveaway.
Right.
But all of our volunteers and our staff came together to distribute these backpacks through our different programs. And so a big shout out to all of them.
All of those folks in their local parishes, God love you. Thank you for this tremendous work.
Absolutely. As you said, Phil, this kind of cooperation and teamwork and incredible generosity goes year round, but it is inspiring to see all this come together in this back to school season. Tanisha Jones, Catholic Charities Vice President of Government and Community Engagement, described the Backpack Project as a great example of what's possible when our regional hubs collaborate with parish ministries and external partners, all of us working together on behalf of the people that we serve. Can we ask you to each describe how you saw this teamwork in action through the Backpack Project? Chris, can we start with you?
Sure. So I'm looking at photos. I had several board members show up for the event at Lincoln Elementary in Calumet City. And, there were approximately 300 children who were there at this back to school event. So it was exciting to have 8 to 10 board members and volunteers and staff set up and hand out all this. I see a line of kids and families waiting for backpacks, and they're just blown away by the generosity and work. It wasn't too hot that day, so it was fun. It's always fun to set up and engage with the community. It's very local to Calumet City, and we always appreciate the partnerships, how it all comes together.
You really see the need there at these community events. As you said, how many people are lining up? So this was absolutely a hugely successful project. How about you, Peggy? I know your son was even involved, right? He doesn't even go to Leo Catholic, but he joined in. What kind of teamwork did you see in your community events?
Yeah, so again, going back to that shout out, the Leo High School Lions, the student volunteers, they were the ones that set it for us, right? They were the ones that put it on the truck on our Catholic Charities truck and gave us the opportunity to distribute that. And in that, the partnerships, with the staff at St. Thomas the Apostle, shout out to Father Michael Trail and Miss, oh gosh, so many out there. And shout out to Father Gales, who was the recipient of Our Lady of Africa. My son, who is from Ignatius, was our lone volunteer the day that we were packing them up and delivering them to Our Lady of Africa, because he was out of school and he wanted to be a part of it. So I give a shout out to him as well. But yeah, just back to our partners and our internal partners. My partner, Chris Torres, who is like, it's going to be a continued effort for as long as we're doing this with our regional partnerships. So
it's inspiring just to hear you talk about it. How about you, Julia? What kind of teamwork and action have you seen in the North and Northwest Suburban Cook Office in recent days?
I think because we understand the importance of school supplies for children in our community, the program volunteers and staff from our food pantry, our clothing room, our supper program, and then the New Hope apartment staff, we all joined together to distribute backpacks and school supplies to those in need, so that they have an opportunity to be prepared for the beginning of the school year. And that's really all of us coming together is the most important thing for those students.
It really sets the foundation for their school year, right? I think when the students know people believe in them, they believe in themselves, and then want to strive to achieve their dreams, right, Phil?
Yeah, it's very true, and we're hearing that common thread of the progress that's being made in this work on the community level. Obviously, Julia, you and Chris and Peggy and your teams are making huge progress in helping Catholic Charities expand its presence on this local, this regional level, with the goal of increasing the awareness of what Catholic Charities does, right? Julia, you were even talking, it's not just about school supplies. We have a food pantry. We have so many other needs and counseling programs that we can help with, so that people, that access and that promotion, so that people can get help with almost whatever they need as quickly and as easily as possible. I'd love to hear, from one of you in the time that we have left of this work that we've done. What are you hearing from clients and from volunteers and from a friend of Catholic Charities as this local presence increases in parishes and communities all over Cook and Lake County? Can any of you kind of give us a brief instance of, here's what I'm hearing, and it's very profound, and it propels me in my work?
I think basic needs just continues to grow within the community. So do Catholic Charities programs and the services that we provide. I do think it's extremely important that people in need are able to access these services as quickly and easily as possible. So almost all the feedback we've heard from clients and volunteers and parishes and friends in our community is that they appreciate that Catholic Charities can be a foundation for resources for people in need.
Yeah, that's true, and keep it coming, and it's only growing. That need is only growing.
How about you, Peggy? Anything to add to that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's not forget, like one of our purposes is to create and share opportunities for living our faith and values through service and accompaniment, community building, dialogue, and debate. And that's what we're doing. We're doing this through our community building. And so through this backpack initiative, for example, it is an entree into all the different ways of partnering with parish communities and their communities within those parishes. So I feel like, with the pastors giving feedback, all in the excitement of wanting to do more initiatives with us, right there, that's golden.
Beautifully
and
said.
Well said.
And Chris, anything else briefly to add?
Just, I would add that, we talk about numbers, how many people we serve, but really it's the people who walk into the door every day and ask for help. So we help individuals, and each person has different lives and different timelines, different needs. And, it's really, it's important that we understand that people come to us who ask, we really try and help them one-on-one.
Beautifully said as well.
Yeah, it's that connecting with everyone, one person, one heart at a time. That's
Right.
often said around Catholic Charities. So anyone interested in reading the whole story about the Backpack Project can go to our website, CatholicCharities.net, and click on Mercy in Action Stories. There's some terrific photos there too. Chris, Peggy, and Julia, and you and your colleagues have accomplished so much in recent weeks, and really year round. And you're advocating for school families in very important ways, as we hope that children get the best start of the school year right out of the gate. Congratulations on the success of this work and everything that you do day in and day out. And thank you for sharing these uplifting stories with us.
I agree with you, Phil. Chris, Peggy, and Julia, thank you so much for being on the show. And we truly hope that you will keep us posted on all the great things happening in your regions and in your service areas this fall. Please keep us posted.
Thank you.
Thank you. We just also want to give a quick shout out. Anybody who is interested in coming After Supper Visions program, that wonderful program that teaches photography to guests of our Tuesday night supper. They're having the 2023 photo exhibition on Friday, September 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. at our headquarters, 721 North LaSalle Street. Please visit AfterSupperVisions.com for details. And we invite all of you back again next week for another edition of The Voice of Charity. For now, this is Katie Bredemann with Phil Zepeda, and we thank you for tuning in and believing in the mission of Catholic Charities.